Good afternoon, everyone. In celebration of Women's History Month, we are thrilled to be here today for the 4th edition of the World Women Hour, and truly, truly honored to be surrounded by the best of the best. We are here really gathered around the theme of it's time to claim our POWhER. And I'll say it that way, right? We gotta add that H, which underscores our resolve to do a couple of things: to outdo cliches, overturn rules, and overcome obstacles. So today, let's celebrate our go-getters, our groundbreakers, and our game changers. Let's celebrate those who use their voice to lead change for girls and women around the world. And with that, I'd love to welcome up my esteemed panelists. Come on up on stage, please. And as they join me, we've got Brooke deRosa, here she comes, an award-winning composer, conductor, vocalist, and filmmaker. Alisha Gaddis, an Emmy-winning actress and multi-Grammy winner. And Bonnie McKee, a singer, songwriter, and musician. We are expecting Jessica Ross, but I do not see her. So maybe, why don't I join you then? I was going to stand up here, but let me join you. All right. Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I had the best time getting ready for today. And just studying, exploring, enjoying, being entertained by, and my mind and heart expanding through all of your work. So
thank you.
To say it's an honor is an understatement. Rather than introducing each of you, could you just each go through and introduce yourselves and perhaps add a highlight to what excites you most about being here today, especially with the umbrella of this theme?
Hi, I'm Bonnie McKee. I'm a singer, songwriter, director, do it all. I'm really happy to be here today. I think sisterhood is very important, and so I'm happy to be a part of it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brooke deRosa. I'm a composer, conductor, vocalist. I do a lot of stuff like Bonnie. I think most of us probably do. And I'm so happy to be here on behalf of women everywhere, because we definitely, while things are moving in a good direction, it's not far enough and fast enough. So let's keep going. Woo.
Hi, I'm Alisha Gaddis. I love the multi-hyphenate theme we have. I am a multi-Grammy winner, an Emmy-winning actress, a producer, an author. I write for film and television, and I'm a filmmaker and a mother. And today I think the thing that excited me the most was being similarly in a community that's rising people up, that felt very inclusive in all directions. And just being really excited to hear everyone's stories as we continue our own narratives to grow the narrative of women in general.
Thank you, each of you. So research suggests and shows that women often face backlash when we are striving to achieve and assert our power and speak out. Can you each share an instance where you've experienced or witnessed this, and how you responded to it?
Okay, I'll take it to a kind of a gentle one of the early childhood days, because I really thought about this, and it continues happening, and I was like trying to trace back the core, right? I remember being in 3rd grade and being like really razzly-dazzly even then, like just being like, this is my thing! Like, you give me a microphone and I'm gonna like take it, right? So I was in 3rd grade, and it was like the school show or whatever, like the school play. And I was definitely like the razzly-dazzliest. And it was a circus show. And then the results came out on who was going to be the ringleader. And I remember being like, this is my day. I'm going to be the ringleader. And they put it up. And they were like, obviously I was not the ringleader. And they said, oh, Alisha, ringleaders are for boys. Only boys can be the ringleader. And then I kept stepping in spaces where they told me only boys could be the ringleader, or the man was only the ringleader. And I conformed to that because it was this systemic situation of wherever I were in a lot of the spaces I was put in or putting myself in. And it took me a long time to instead of fighting it, instead of pushing that away and trying to be what I thought I needed to be to rise in that space and be like, I see you, space. I'm going to step outside of that and create my own space and invite people in who feel the same way and want to lift each other up accordingly.
Wow. What a powerful start. So, Brooke.
I'm not sure if this is going to answer the question correctly, but when I was taking conducting lessons, I was told I would not be able to because women have weird bodies for conducting.
Cool.
There's nothing I can really do about that. So, of course, it was obviously a man who told me this. I don't know if does that answer it.
Of course, if that's what comes to mind, absolutely.
There's a lot of insulting things I think that have been said to me, mostly, especially in conducting. None of the male instrumentalists usually want to listen either, which is really makes for a fun time on my end. But yeah.
Thank you. Let's see. Okay, so examples of times when there was something where I'm not, whatever. Okay, I'm going to try.
Yeah. Backlash.
So I am, like I said, a singer-songwriter. I also engineer all my own stuff, and I edit my own videos and movies and stuff. And I think I'm always getting reactions from men when I'm in the studio where I'm like, hey, can you like move so I can sit down and engineer? And they're always like, wow. Like, you can run Pro Tool? Wow. And I'm just like, motherfucker, I'm sorry. I've been doing this for like 20 years. And now that I'm stepping into more like film stuff and making my own videos and stuff, it's kind of the same thing. People are always surprised that I'm able to edit. And I don't know, just most of the time I end up doing it better. I don't know if it's because I have something to prove, maybe, because I'm just like, I'll show you. I'm going to show you how technical I can get. But yeah, I think that's one example.
Well, I'm sure it's like quite impressive for them to watch you envision, create, produce, star, and edit and refine. And I mean, it's a very, it's emblematic, I think, of all three of you and the touch points that you have in so many different kind of holistic and integrated spaces, it seems, on the stage and off the stage and everywhere in between. Bonnie, I'll start again with you. So your music has touched the lives of many, and I'm wondering, how do you navigate the music industry's landscape to ensure that your voice is heard, and what advice would you give aspiring female artists looking to claim their power and make an impact?
I think I still kind of struggle with it, to be honest. As a songwriter, we're sort of at the bottom of the totem pole in the music industry, male or female. But a lot of times I see guys getting points on the master when they ask for it, and the girls not so much. It's kind of like, I've literally been laughed at, where I'm like, hey, so like I did contribute to these ideas, and I did contribute to this production, and that was my idea, and the bridge, and blah, 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 and the production. And it's just like, that's cute. And I think that because I'm more established now, it was really bad when I first was coming up. But I think I can ask for what I need now. But I still feel hesitant because I have been conditioned to not be a pain in the ass, Like, don't make too much noise. Don't ask for too much. Don't make it a pain in the ass for everybody, basically. So I still struggle with that. I still feel guilty when I ask for what I deserve, So that's something I am actively working on. But my advice to other up-and-comers is learn how to engineer your shit. Learn how to engineer. Learn how to edit. Learn how to produce. Learn how to do this stuff yourself, because I spent so many years in the beginning just waiting around for a dude to send me the track, or being like, I don't really like it, but like I'm very particular and I don't want to like take up too much of your time, shrinking myself when I have a very specific idea of what I want, and now I'm able to execute that on my own, and that's incredibly liberating.
And I really appreciate, thank you. I really appreciate the honesty and the vulnerability that everyone is showing. So thank you for that. Alisha, as a Emmy-winning actress and multi-Grammy award winner, you've undoubtedly harnessed the power of your voice through your career. How do you believe that women in the entertainment industry can amplify their voices and drive meaningful change and empower others?
I really do also appreciate that vulnerability, because it is still really hard, isn't it? I think that's a great reminder. And wait, can you say the last part again? I got too distracted with the vulnerability of the last. I was like, yeah, learn those skills. I was like, I need to go back and talk to that. I literally was like, I have to send an email to my editor. Get the okay, sorry, I got distracted.
No, it's a mouthful, and it's funny. I was listening to an interview with Bonnie where you were talking about the importance of lyrics that don't like triple up, big words effectively, right? So just to unpack the big words again, how do you believe women in the entertainment industry can amplify their voices to drive meaningful change and empower others, considering, and especially through the lens of the extraordinary career that you've already have had and continue with?
Well, I think with, thank you. And I think with what I do is I continue to check in with not only my own voice and my own narrative, but I have this really weird career of niche, like, unfortunately for my agents. And by that, I'm always looking to try, and I'm still working actively to decenter myself and look at what is not being heard, or what makes people feel a little nervous. For example, my last film, my film that's in post-production right now that received the National Endowment for the Arts grant, is about the community of reborn dolls. And there's a community of reborn dolls of women having mental health breaks because they have either not been able to conceive, lost a child, or their children have grown. And the stigma and it's a dark comedy, but it's destigmatizing the community and a lot of destigmatization. And a few of my books also have been published about weaning. And I have a book about weaning because I was on the road touring, doing these huge stadium tours in China. And it wasn't very allowed to breastfeed in public places, and especially breastfeed. I had all male crews. My band is all male. The manager was male. And I was like, I'm bringing my baby on tour and nursing her on the tour bus. And I'm going to nurse her off stage, hand her to someone, put her things on, go perform, nurse again. And it was like mind-blowing to people. And I'm going to take her to the restaurant with the clients who brought us here after and be nursing my baby. Right? I mean, because I am all of the things, and you can't be all the things equally. Thank you. I mean, it was like actually this huge act. Like, I didn't expect to be making this big stance, but it was like a statement when I was like taking this baby around 16 cities all over China. And in the U.S., the U.S. also has some problems. And when I got home, I thought, how can I help with, and I'm always looking for that as a storyteller. How can I tell this story so people's hearts open and then you jab them with the truth, right? So I wrote a book on the countdown to weaning, right? And how a mother can talk to her child about weaning, what you can do to prepare, making a book, an interactive book. This is just a very small example, but it's about finding holes in a narrative that you believe in and bringing a voice to that so that it can create a bigger dialogue that you get to be a part of. And for me, the next book I wrote was about periods, normalizing menstruation and making a coffee table book about menstruation. That was wild. It got passed by a bajillion people, then finally a yes. And so in order to, what my advice would be is to keep going, because there's a yes, because you are not an actual niche. You are 50% of the population, and there are people out there waiting to support you. You just have to find each other.
What a stunning example. That is so powerful. That beats the way I did it. Just
There's no competition.
Hiding in a car.
Right? That's good.
No, I really honor and respect that. Brooke, you've made significant contributions to the arts, as mentioned, a rare in form as a female composer. How can women in creative fields use their voice to challenge the traditional norms and promote inclusivity and diversity within their respective industries?
Well, I think that we're already making a lot of strides, especially in film music or theater music, which I work in, or classical music, which there are really not a lot of women conductors. And I think one thing that was really important is when I was growing up, I started out as a singer because I just didn't know that I could do the other stuff. I knew that I liked it, but there weren't women doing it. And I just never thought, oh, this is a valid kind of a career path, because no one's doing it. So I didn't know of any famous female composers or conductors. No women were writing musicals except for Secret Garden. But so I think it's really important that we let the younger generations see that there are women that are doing it, because even just talking to younger people nowadays, they're, I want to be a composer too. And I just is crazy how it never entered my mind, and all I would do is listen to classical music or listen to film scores. Never once did I think, oh, I could do this. So I think just the visibility for women, great events like this where we just bring attention to women and all their contributions are extremely important for moving the needle forward.
I completely agree. This is a little off script, but can each of you share a little bit about what you're most excited about working on right now? Whether it's up and coming and not known by others and you can talk around it, or just the projects that have most recently kind of tapped into and invigorated the piece that we're all talking about right now.
I just building on what you were saying, seeing other female filmmakers too, just like kind of in my peer group or just even on Instagram or whatever, and seeing my friends be like making films and like going to film festival, and I was like, wait, because in my head it was like, one day maybe I'll direct, and then it was like, well, I'm watching other people do it, I'm just gonna do it, and I made a short film in the pandemic, and like, I had lots of time on my hands, like we all did. But I was like, well, now's the time. And that was really great. So anyway, sorry. As far as just seeing other women doing what you're doing, or doing what you want to do, that is absolutely very powerful. And I've been working with a lot of kind of young up-and-coming artists and sort of mentoring them. And I never had a mentor. I was kind of like thrown to the wolves at 16 and moved out here. And so just like being someone that they can call and be like, does this contract look right? Like, is this like, and I'm like, that's not how it works. Because no one was ever there to be like, you're being taken advantage of. So I'm really enjoying kind of stepping into this mentor role. I mean, just because I care, it is really rewarding for me. As far as projects, I have an album coming out at the end of May called Hot City. And thank you very much. Thanks.
Well, as a matter of fact, I do have something coming up. I wrote a new musical version of Alice in Wonderland. Yes, with a female book writer. It's premiering at the Wilshire Ebell Theater April 6th and 7th. please come see it. I have flyers, I have coupon codes, I have everything. And that's actually been funny because, like everyone up here, I thought, oh, I'll just compose it, but then it wasn't getting picked up. I said, I'll just produce it. And then that was great. And then it was like, well, I guess I have to direct it now too, because that's what women have to do to move the needle forward sometimes. So please come and see Alice in Wonderland April 6th and 7th at the Wilshire Ebell Theater. Yay.
I love that space. That's a really good theater. That's really exciting. I think for me, I think what I decided at the beginning of this year, because I feel like the last, well, I guess 4 years, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, like those 4 years that all blended together, I was like a content creating machine. Like I was like, I have to write a screenplay and seven pilots and do another album and write music for, this toy company and sing on this and make a speech, because it was just like we were trapped. And it was an explosive time of like pressure cooking art for me personally. And so I'm looking forward. So I set the intention at the beginning of the year of creative ease. And what I mean by that, and I think it speaks to my POWhER, is I'm going to let things come to me. Instead of pushing out more projects, I'm finishing up a lot that I'm excited about. I've decided to be my true rooted self and let what is meant to come to me, let it really speak to me. Because in the past, I feel as if I've had to push, like we've talked about. Am I good enough for this space? I think someone in the last panel said they had to be or it was the person who won the Person of the Year. She felt like she had to be overqualified. And that resonated so much with me. I feel like I have to know everybody's job, even as an actress. If I step onto set, I want to be able to speak about to everybody. I want to equalize the playing field for myself and for them. And so for this year, I want to be more knowledgeable in what my efforts are and let the magnetism of us all bounce off of each other. So I feel like there's something out there that I'm not trying to finish that's going to come up and that's going to really shake me in the best way. And I'm opening space for that.
This is just all so good, and I'm realizing I didn't introduce myself. So my name's Stacey Pennington, and I was thinking, I was looking for Rupa beyond the lights, because I think you just can't make up how extraordinary the insights that you all are sharing intertwine with the essence and the mission and the vision for the World Women Foundation and the World Women Hour. So it's such an honor. I have the privilege of being able to kind of be a part of the World Women Foundation team, and it's opened up the door to do a lot of kind of deep soul searching and truly the story of each of our stories and narrative, and is one that is touched on by so many of your collective points. And I think to your point about the intention you set at the beginning of the year, it is, we all need to set an intention along those lines, because otherwise the grind and the hustle to constantly be proving ourselves in the context of the norms that have been kind of told or fabricated, it gets overwhelming, and we can easily burn out. We started early, and if everyone's up for just kind of continuing for a little bit, I've got a couple of more questions. One is a fill in the blank, but then expand on it, please. So, fill in the blank. Power can be used as a tool for blank. Lonnie.
Helping others, and that is one of the beautiful things about having the success that I've had, is that I can help the next generation. Whereas before I felt like I was just kind of in the trenches with the rest of them, and so it's nice when someone calls me and goes, I can't get this person. And I'm like, I'll pick up the phone. I'll call for you, whatever it is. There's something really rewarding about that.
It was power is an instrument of?
Can be a
Can be-
tool,
can
can
be-
be used as a tool for.
Can be used as a tool for change, I think, especially when we all come together, and, yeah, I mean, absolutely, inspiring others, change. There's just, it's funny, it took me getting a lot older until I was really actually comfortable kind of taking my actual power, because I never thought that I had power, I'm sure that we have all felt that way. Like someone was saying, oh, don't complain too much, don't ask too many questions, just, this is how it's done. And no, why? That doesn't have to be done like that. So, yeah, I think it's a good change.
Power is a tool for lifting up others' voices. I think for me, that's one of my main missions, like my main why of doing anything, is if I can, the more energy, funding, energy meaning fiscally, attention-wise, anything that I can get on a project, it means that I can then spread that out and then focus that another way. And being very conscious of that you can do that on a micro or macro level all day, every day. Like at the end of my day, I think in a small way, whose voice can I lift up that is an artist, as a woman BIPOC artist? Who can I share? How can I use my platform? How can I use my voice? When a grant comes in, when funding comes in, a development deal comes in, who can I hire on my team first? What DP am I looking at? When I'm writing a script, how does the cast look in terms of inclusivity? It is such a valuable way to think all the time. You have to put it on the forefront of your mind. It has to be the lens that you're making choices for, not only for women, but for the inclusivity in a greater, broader sense. I think it is so important that we're doing it. It becomes organic to who we are.
Another fill in the blank, one power tool that every young woman can use to lead the new wave of change.
Sisterhood. Oh, I love that. I think that there is POWhER in numbers. I mean, that is the truth. When we think about, and not to, keep on coming back to this, but it was such an eye-opening experience for me going through the whole Me Too movement. I feel like the power in numbers is so real. And I realized, like, you guys know that movie, what was it called? Pleasantville? Is that what it's called? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I really had the moment where I was like, I've been living in black and white, and I'm seeing the world in color. And that's because of sisterhood. That's because women came together and made something happen. And I do think that there has been a change. And I think that people are careful. Men are more careful about what they say, how they treat us, especially in professional environments. It's not the cure-all, but I do think that together, like, it really made a difference. So, I don't know. I say sisterhood.
That's great.
Sorry, how did you phrase it?
That's okay. This is good. One power tool that every young woman can use to lead the new wave of change.
The POWhER to say the word no.
Amen, sister.
Yep.
I think the power of our personal story. I think so many, and I think that starts and is the ability to then be able to connect in a profound way. But I talk to people a lot who just believe that their story isn't good enough, that they have to be more, they're not exciting enough, why me? I tell people all the time, why not you? You are valuable and you are important, and every experience that you have lived, are living now, and want to live is so meaningful, and you are here for a reason. And I think your story leads to your voice, and your voice can be your art, your voice can be your actual voice, voice can be what you do with the community and your job. But I think that starts with knowing your story, knowing yourself, and being able to connect and want to share it.
Awesome. And final question as we wrap up. How does your work align with theme, and how does it empower women to lead in a bold new way through the power of their voice? And we've already touched on several elements of that. So truly, like specifically through the lens of each of the spaces that you have within this creative field, what has risen to the top as a priority and or a particular project or experience that was able to capture that most for you?
I write pop music, and so I'm always kind of having to think about the masses. Like when I write, I'm always thinking about like, how do I reach and touch and help as many people as I can with this? And so I think that a theme that comes through my music again and again, and it's probably because what I need to hear, I know it's because what I need to hear, is about perseverance. And when you fall down, you get back up. And that's kind of become sort of the theme of my whole career. And, you know, I used to be so devastated when I would fail. And now every failure is just a learning experience. Like, you know, the first few cuts are the deepest, and then it gets easier. And you're like, oh, yeah, like everyone's failing all the time. It's fine. But so I think that but the music that I write for myself and for other people, it's really about perseverance and hanging in there. And one of the most rewarding things about writing these songs that have reached millions of people is the stories that I hear from people like, oh, like Roar helped me get through my divorce, helped me get through my battle with cancer, helped me, you know, whatever it is. And that really motivates me, is to just give people hope and give people something to strive for. It's not like woman specific, but I would say just like empowering people to be themselves and love themselves and believe in themselves. That's like a common theme in my art.
Thank you. Brooke.
Well, I think in my particular field, it's just to show other women that it can be done. It is being done. It will continue to be done, probably in much greater numbers. And if I can be a little part of that change, then that will be a good life lived.
For me, the area that buoyed my career up unexpectedly was in family entertainment. So we had a band for children, and then I was created a children's television show in which I got to star in because I put myself as the star, and then sold it accordingly with me attached. And then hired all my friends to write, my lady writer friends and all my friends to do it, because isn't that the dream? And so with that, when I became this children's media person, I didn't realize the responsibility. And I have two mixed race daughters, and I say that because that is also very important to me, that the representation on screen was reflected in what they were seeing. And so I was able to negotiate that as well and put that to the forefront. But I started realizing, oh, all these young girls are looking at me on stage and on their screen. I'm the one they're tuning into. They're trusting me. The parents are allowing me in their home, and then they're trusting my voice with what I say. And when I really took that in, it was kind of terrifying because that's like, you want to talk about shaping the future. They're like right there, and then they show up. And I wanted to make sure that the person I was when I was not that like children's media icon thing was aligned with the values I still wanted to teach them. That's when my allyship, my voice got stronger. When I realized that the horn of the mouth that I was speaking through was going to eventually, those kids were going to get older and they were going to check in, or maybe they had teen or whatever it was. it was such and I think someone spoke about branding, and the overarching branding is what your truth is, and what you're, to me, is in the why of what you're doing it and the message you're putting out there. And for me, I knew that was falling on young ears, and that was really a big deal, and I don't take it lightly. And so for me, that's very empowered, that I get to have that very trusted experience in that capacity.
Yeah. So awkward to clap with the mic. I'm finding it really hard to wrap this up because this is so enjoyable. But I think just building on that, the such a huge part of the meaning of this initiative and the power to claim our power is the encouragement to girls and women around the world to tap into that source of congruency and value within, so that the ways in which we are living our lives and contributing back truly connect to our inner spirit and our inner space that we see ourselves most, and others see us as well. And I think each of you and your extraordinary work and footprint kind of on society and the world is a great example of that. So I want to thank each of you and thank the audience, and just a shout out for everyone, a plug to follow at World Women Fund on Instagram and online, and think of ways that you'd like to get involved and be a part of this force moving forward. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you all.